Ultra processed foods. Ultra processed foods. What the heck is ultra processed foods? Why is it so bad for us? Is it really that bad for us? And why can't I stay away from it? Those answers are coming up. Stay tuned. Hey, it's your girl Carmel Jean-Francois, owner and founder of CFIT Coaching. I am your coach, and I am here bringing you another installment of the Sugar Savvy Solution, acclimating the foodie in you to a life beyond sugar. There's so much talk about ultra-processed foods being so bad for us, and it causing cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, and even early death. Really? Ultra-processed foods does all of that? Many people don't even know what processed foods are, and even more people don't even realize that ultra-processed is even a thing. And seriously, what constitutes ultra-processed compared to just plain processed foods? Well, first, let's take a look at the definition. What are ultra-processed foods? So according to the Department of Agriculture, processed foods are any raw agricultural commodities that have been washed and cleaned, milled, cut and chopped, heated, pasteurized, blanched, cooked, canned, frozen, dried, dehydrated, mixed or packaged, or has undergone any other procedures that alter the food from its natural state. And this includes adding preservatives, flavors, nutrients, and other food additives such as salt, oil, and sugar. All right, that was just a real complicated sounding definition. So to get an idea of what ultra processed foods are, we're going to use the NOVA classification system. NOVA what? The NOVA classification system is a system that divides foods into 4 different groups to classify or determine the level of processing that that particular food has been through. So we're going to use that classification system and an apple. So we have this apple. And so this apple would be considered group number 1. It's unprocessed or very, very, very minimally processed. It's been picked. That's the extent of it. Group 2 is a process that you can more than likely do in your kitchen. Slice the apples, throw them in the refrigerator, extend the life expectancy, if you will. Group 3 is when the food is converted in some way. Maybe an ingredient or 2 has been added, but it's starting to look a little bit more differently than it did when it came out of the ground. The additives used here are all mainly industrial, and they're engineered so that they can be stored and so that they won't go bad and they have a long shelf life. They're highly palatable and they're stripped of their natural protein, fiber, and micronutrients. So this process is what makes hazelnuts into Nutella. But in our culture and the way we live from day to day, it's almost impossible not to consume ultra-processed foods. Unless we have our own garden of fruits and vegetables. Now, it's been stated that ultra-processed foods are actually as addictive as substances like nicotine and alcohol. How is that? It's known that not all ultra-processed foods are addicting. However, the foods with the highest level of refined carbohydrates and sugars and fats are more than likely to be addictive. And it's the combination of the refined carbs and the fats and the sugar and the salt that tends to be addictive to the brain's reward system. The use of the term addiction when it comes to food is very, very controversial. Some people feel that it's a matter of willpower and being able to just say no. And the fact that these foods are cheap, they're fast, they're convenient, and they taste really good does not help the situation at all. So we keep coming back and it's a vicious cycle. And we know that these foods are not going anywhere anytime soon. They are not disappearing. So what to do? How do we cope? How do we overcome the compulsive overeating of these products that's got us hooked? First, seek help. Dropping some numbers in the description. Use it if you feel like you need to use it. Identify your triggers, the triggered foods, your triggered emotions, anything that happens. Find out what your triggers are and when you tend to overfeed on these foods. Seek nutritional counseling. Sometimes there's an emotional or traumatic event linked to whatever addiction that you might be going through. But while you're figuring out what triggers you and what those trauma signals and emotions are, it wouldn't hurt to start looking at nutritional value of food, to seek out healthier versions of the foods you've been consuming. Find a community. Sometimes all it takes is for you to know and understand and see that other people are going through the same thing right along with you. There's comfort there. And I need you to know that this is not personal failure. This is no indication of weak willpower. Food addiction is a very controversial term, but you know what you're going through, you know what you're feeling, you know what your battles are. Just know that help is available. Take your power back and find the help that you need, because there is help available. This has been another installment of the Sugar Savvy Solution, acclimating the foodie in you to a life beyond sugar. If you found value in the information shared here today, just share this out with somebody that you know. You never know what difference you might be making in their lives. See you next time. Extend the life expectancy. Extend the life NOVA classification system to define the definition. Extend the life.